I, I, I think it's important that people are happy with where they're residing and they have accessibility to the various activities in our community, whether it's a hockey game or the movie theater or river run, whatever. We also want that in those areas that there's safety for our people, and I think that those things are important. My full name is Kenneth Osborne Hammill, and as a youngster, Bud Hammill was my name, in fact, all through high school, university. And when I went to work at Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company in the purchasing department, the chief administrative guy, Bud, was Bud Schultz. So he said I had to change my name. So I became Kenneth then, and I've used Kenneth Hammill ever since. I can remember Speedville Avenue, for instance, being a gravel road. I can remember the streetcars in Guelph and the rail lines running down the center of Gordon Street.
My junior school was Victory School, and then I went to St. John's School.
And then we moved to Huntsville, and then I came down to the University of Guelph, and when I finished there, I went to Toronto with the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, and with them 10 years, and then came back to Guelph and started with Omark Industries. So.
My full name is Eileen Merrikh Hammill. Born Guelph General Hospital, 1930, March 16. I like to read, and that's what I get my enjoyment from. Oh, I went to Alexandra School, which was next door to Central, and I went to the old Central School. From there to GCVI. Well, I had an idyllic childhood. I lived in the town in the winter, and come the last day of school we moved to what we called the farm. And we stayed at the farm until the night before school started, and that was paradise. He was in year 51 and I was at Mac Hall. I went in for dinner. You had to line up at Creelman, and you apparently saw me in the line.
And I asked you out to do something, didn't I?
You asked me to go to a hockey game. So he brought his little brother and we caught the bus downtown, and I guess he enjoyed it. I thought it was, I didn't particularly enjoy the hockey games. Anyway, well, we sort of just, you asked me out again, didn't you? To go to a movie, that was the big thing in those days. You graduated in 1951 and we got married in 1953 when I graduated.
Yeah. We had to wait for her.
No, I went to a proper university. He just went to a college.
Actually, my wife was born in Guelph, and she had lived in Guelph all her life. And so some of her friends, we got talking and whatnot, and they said we should get involved in municipal politics.
He ran, he got in, and then I think his natural ability at fiscal ideas propelled him into being a natural for the finance area.
And I spent some 29 years on city council.
On most of these committees, in fact, every one that I sort of remember was how much money can you raise? And how then are we going to spend that?
I see the budgets like everybody does, two-sided. One is, how much is it going to cost John Doe, the ratepayer? And secondly, is it going to provide the service to John Doe that we require? You've got to realize that people have expenses and mortgages and so on and so forth, so you can't hit them too hard. At the same time, they also want a certain level of service. So you have to provide that for them. So it's a kind of thing that you have to work hard at to get a agreement that the city is moving in the right direction at the right expense.
Fundraising was always interesting in Guelph because there was always somebody there that would participate, was helpful, and we didn't have very many people say no. I guess that the population of the city of Guelph were very interested in having a junior hockey team. I can remember selling the idea of having a arena downtown, and it went over very well and sold quite easily. That was a big, giant move.
I had a desire to read more, and I ended up joining the library. So it worked out very well because I could run from the school at noon and get a book and read it overnight and then take it back the next day. And that's what I did, and I read a lot of fiction. In the 70s, I was called by a board member who was retiring and asked if I would like to serve on the board. They knew I was quite a reader, and I said yes, I'd love to. And so I joined the board at that time, and I guess I was on the board right through until 1994. But you know, a community that does not have a library is really, to me, is a very poor community.
I still spend a number of hours every week at various activities, such as the Youth Music Center, such as the Shark Swim program, which is for children in grades 3 and grade 5, gets 3 free swim lessons every year. And they know enough, learn enough about swimming, so if they run into trouble, they know enough strokes until Dad can pull them out. I think it's very, very important to have that kind of a program. I always, when I lived on various streets in Guelph, used to love to maybe slip out and join the kids in playing some road hockey or some of those kinds of things. And I find too that young people have got young ideas they bring up, and sometimes working with the old people and the younger people, we can come up with something even better. So I like that mix of people, not necessarily just old people. I think it's important that people are happy with where they're residing, and they have accessibility to the various activities in our community, whether it's a hockey game or the movie theater or the river run, whatever. We also want that in those areas that there's safety for our people, and I think that those things are important.
I'm very fortunate that I was born here and that I lived here, and I'm just part of the community.